If you're looking for best practices for your bank or credit union, join us while we talk all things sales, marketing, and strategy for financial institutions. Let's make it happen with FiGrow Solutions.
Hi there, I'm Meredith Olmstead, CEO and founder of FiGrow Solutions. We are a digital marketing and sales and lending support agency. We work exclusively with credit unions and banks. And I am here with our sales director, Danielle Fancher. Say hi, Danielle.
Hello.
So Danielle and I were just having a conversation about website projects. We have a couple of website projects slated to kick off in early 2025. So I think that's now. But we're making this a little before the end of the year in 2024. And we were getting a little worked up about conversations that we keep having again and again with credit unions and banks about budgets for websites. And I just wrote down on our podcast topic list, how in the world are credit unions and banks still underspending on websites? It's 2025. And so Danielle and I started chatting about it, and she was like, well, let's just hit record and talk about it, because it can be a frustrating topic and something that is just like a huge mystery to me as to how priorities haven't shifted. So Danielle, do you want to tell the story about a recent lead we had a really great conversation with, and then we found out what their budget was and described the size of the institution and what they were looking for?
Yeah, so we were chatting with a credit union, and this is a fairly large credit union, especially in the credit union space. $700 million in assets is a pretty good size credit union. And we were having conversations with them and going back and forth, and it got brought up that their budget for a new website, right, that brings in all of the traffic for their credit union, probably as a whole, their budget was $50,000.
Yeah,
So,
if that. She said she would be fighting
that was a max
to get. She said she would be fighting for $50,000. And so we ended the conversation because we didn't really want to waste her time. We didn't want to waste our time. And I sent her a bunch of resources around adjusting priorities internally around budgets. But I just have to say, like, a couple things right off the bat. I mean, I was like jaw dropped. Like, we work with institutions a fraction of that size who are spending 3 and 4 times that amount on websites. $150,000 is pretty normal at this day and age to get a really solid, fully functioning website. And that's not just our builds. I serve on Mac's board. I've asked multiple board members and attendees and other marketers how much they're spending on their high quality websites, all in that neighborhood, somewhere between 150, the larger institutions pushing 200, 250 even. So those are the budgets that we're talking about. Our budgets are on our website even. Like, we don't hide the cost because it's so much work. It is a big investment, but there is a huge value there. So the first thing that I always like to say to people when they push back on budget is, why is this just a marketing expense? Okay, it is a digital asset. We're not talking about, like, if you're going to build a brick and mortar branch somewhere, it's not a marketing expense, it's operations. So is your website. I mean, come on. You have almost all of your traffic going through your website nowadays to do daily banking with you, to find more information about products and services. So it's crazy that it's all line items into marketing expenses. So first thing we tell people is, get the right people at your institution involved in these conversations so you can get the right budget. Okay, because it doesn't really need to all come out of the marketing budget. It should be coming out of operations, retail, lending. I mean, it's a retail branch, really. Your digital branch is a retail branch. So there should be some additional funds there. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the cost of a brick and mortar. So let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah. So the average cost to build a brick and mortar branch is $1.9 million.
And so that's obviously a range. I think that's the median cost. And that could include purchasing land, building from the ground up, or, so obviously there's going to be a range, but you're well over $1 million to get in the door and open a branch, probably closer to 2 million. So absolutely. And so then we have these brick and mortars that have, tens of people coming to them a day. And then you have your online branch that's serving hundreds of times the same traffic that comes into a brick and mortar. So it's really a mystery to me as to how people can continue to justify the spending on in-person branches, staffing them, operations, furniture, everything, and nickel and diming the digital.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, just like what you said, Meredith, like we are putting all, or banks and credit unions are putting all of these resources into staffing brick and mortar. When I was a branch manager, I had 19 employees that were in my branch, and there were many of days and weeks where we are like twiddling our thumbs, like when is someone going to walk in the door? When is someone going to
Yeah.
walk in the door? And then, to that point, for your website, who is handling all of those leads? Like, oh yeah, we'll give it one employee when all of your loan applications and online applications are coming right in through your website. So it is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, there's no dedicated staff a lot of times behind the scenes to your websites. There's no HR budgets. They don't come with the training, support and ongoing staffing issues. I mean, it's almost like we've almost started to tell people, look, you're running a marketing department or a sales department, but bring lending in there together. Like actually bring a couple of lenders into your marketing team, because otherwise you just can't get the support from so the staff that's in a branch or somewhere else. These people need to be dedicated to the digital space. So I pulled a couple of quick statistics. Now we're making this in early December 2024. We're recording. So I pulled stats for the last 7 days, which was Thanksgiving week. Okay. Nobody was going to branches. Branches were closed a lot of the time. Everybody's doing Black Friday. There's not a lot of traffic going on because people are at home with the holidays. Okay. We have this institution that I pulled is a $400 million institution with 41,000 members. In the last 7 days, which is over the holiday, the Thanksgiving holiday, they had almost 9,000, a little under 9,000 unique visitors or sessions just in 7 days to their website. And I'm not even going to get into where they were going on the website, what were they searching for, how many new contacts came in, but all of that was happening. Leads were actually coming in and converting on their website while their branches were closed. Now, you couldn't add up and then multiply by 10 the number of branch visitors in that same week period at all of their brick and mortar locations and get anywhere near 8,900. So that is where I really we have to kind of push back and say, you can't underspend on this resource. You can't underspend on this digital asset. People most of the time, new customers or new potential members are often going to your website before they even pick up the phone or contact your institution in any way to learn about doing business with you. So if it's poorly designed, they are having a bad experience and they're heading to a different institution. And
Right.
specifically, we have you and I just did this presentation a couple weeks ago where we talked about how to captivate and convert younger members or younger customers. Well, guess what? If you want millennials and Gen Z, but you want to nickel and dime and go for a half-ass website solution, you're not getting them. They will immediately bounce. They'll go straight to the next institution that loads faster, that has a better online experience, that has an online application that they don't have to walk into a door for, that they can chat with, that they can self-serve. So it really is crazy to prioritize these digital assets.
It is. And I can't tell you how many lending and marketing conferences I've been to this last year where it is every single credit union and bank's strategic goal to lower their average age of membership.
Yeah.
Every single one of them in every state that I've been to. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, how much are you investing in your website? And it's like, think about the user experience. I'm a millennial, and if I don't have a good website user experience, I'll just go somewhere else. And
Yeah.
so it's so important.
And people don't understand too, when you underspend on something like a website, people think, oh, well, you know what, it'll be good enough, and I'll go middle of the road or whatever. But what ends up happening is that it dings you on the trust with people who are coming to your brand. Like they go in, they start searching around. It doesn't feel like they're moving through content well enough. It's not they might search something and not find what they're looking for, or your menu is all over the place or sporadic or haphazardly designed. Information is buried like 3 and 4 clicks into an old dated website. And they're like, I can't find what I'm looking for. I'm out. They don't want to spend money with an institution like that they can't trust. And what about redevelopment, Danielle? That's a big one about how often you read at your website.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, with our websites, we are they're so user friendly and so easy to use that it's so nice that a lot of our clients will come to us on a yearly basis and they want to refresh things. And it's super easy for us to be able to just go in and refresh content, update things, make them look like a completely different website, still with the same website that we created last year or 3 years ago.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. Super easy to move stuff around, very easy to make changes in the back end, even if you're not technically, a developer. But what happens is if you underspend and you have a less easy or a less accessible kind of content management system, you end up having a shorter shelf life for your website. So instead of being able to make changes and be agile, like immediately after a year or two, you'll have a team that come in and say, you know what, I think we need a new website already. And like one of the websites we launched this year, they had literally just gotten a new website like a year and a half before that. And they were so upset with the quality, that's so upset with the performance, with the lack of flexibility of the design, that they went ahead and paid to get out of their contract with that vendor and paid quite a bit more to have a new website done within like a year and a half, 2 years. So it's crazy. Like you might think that the investment is too high, but if you amortize that over like a 3 to 5 year period, which is the typical shelf life of our websites or a good website, it's worth every penny, if not more.
yeah.
So
well, and Mary, how many clients do we get who did a website with another vendor because it was a lower cost that end up coming back to us? And it's
it happens.
Like,
it definitely happens.
It's crazy.
The worst is when you have somebody say they're going to go with somebody else, and then you're like, okay, good luck, let's see how it goes. And then you go and you look at their website 6 or 8 or 10 months or a year later, and nothing has happened. Like either the project is way behind, they're still dragging to try to get things finished. They ended up just saying, okay, never mind, we're not going to do anything at all and just leave it status quo. It's like no decision is the better course, rather than making a hard decision. Sometimes it's really just about empowering people to take risks and also to, kind of make these decisions in their areas of expertise. So when we're talking with people about what makes a website worth a larger investment, the key is to know what is included, right? You want to make sure that you're not just getting blank pages from your partner, your developer, that you then have to spend hours upon hours writing all the content. We for sure, we always are very, very clear about what number of pages we deliver ready for launch. And those pages take us 4 or 5 hours each. I mean, you're talking like full-time, weeks worth of work going into, 50, 60, 70 pages ready for launch. And if you didn't have a partner who was doing that for you, you'd have to write it all. So you'd get these templates and they'd say, oh, here you go, here's your website. And then the internal team, usually the marketing team, has to spend, nights and weekends for the next 2 months writing website content. Not what you want happening.
Yeah, it's very much like, I always think about it like a core conversion. There's so many teams that are involved in a core conversion, right? And a lot of times on a new website, I don't think that sometimes the full executive team understands that it's design and development.
Yeah.
You think of a new website and you think someone's just coming in and developing a new website. No, with a lot of these companies, they are just developing the new website. But I think that's one thing that I really like about us and that makes us so different is we're doing all of the design and the SEO content as well. And our experience is in banking and in credit unions. And so that's our field of expertise. So I do think that's really interesting.
The other things you want to make sure that you're going to be getting pretty much out of a box, with a great content management solution, is you want to be able to personalize experiences based on known characteristics, maybe like of an account. Do they have a certain account? Have they been on a certain page on your website? Have they opened a certain email? Have they clicked on a link somewhere? All these different things. Personal information you might know from somebody that's cookied because of their IP or they've logged in and converted. So all of those things, you want to be able to personalize the experience and the content right on the page on your website or when they're on their smart device. You want to make sure that you can capture leads and that those leads can go somewhere easily. That should be built into your system. We like to set up automated follow-ups pretty much right out of the gate for people if they're converting on starting an application, or if they've they're a known customer or member and they're visiting a high priority page. That's really great for behavior-based automation. So that's great if that's connected with your content management system. Anything else you can think about, you can think of for functionality that you want to make sure is included?
I just like to always talk about the smart content, which is something that you just said, because it is an entire process and an experience. If I'm on your website and I'm specifically clicking on auto loans, the next time I come to the website, you should be marketing auto loans to me. And
Yeah,
that's what I really like about a lot of the websites that actually all of the websites that we do has that smart content. And then we're able to capture that data, like you said, and get them to exactly where they need to be. And so
yeah,
I think that that's extremely important too, whenever you're trying to cater to younger generations, like what we're talking about previously. We want customized, personalized experiences. And
yeah.
so
Yeah, and
that's,
we're willing to tell you information about ourselves in order to get more of what we're looking for when we're looking for it. It's important that we understand that times have changed. Consumer behavior has changed. While yes, privacy is important, and of course it's always important, especially when it comes to banking, people do want to see the information that's more relevant to them in terms of their life circumstance, what they've shown interest in, products or services that they may be most interested in next. So those
right.
are things that you want to make sure you can incorporate into whatever website hosting and content management system you're using. And then just making sure that it's kind of a scalable design for future growth. So like, yes, you might, when you launch a new website, you might only have 3 checking accounts or 2 credit card options or, any of these different kinds of suites of products. But remember, there may come a time not too far in the future where that goes from 3 to 6 or 4 to 5 or 5 to 2, so you want to make sure that that scalability for your website is easy to change, to update, and to modify based on new products and services or as you grow. Maybe you merge with another institution. You want to make sure that you can incorporate all of those different kinds of things into any website design that you're paying a lot for. And when I say a lot, I mean what the value is. I mean, honestly, $150,000 for a website that is, hundreds of times the traffic of any of your brick and mortar. That to me is a bargain. The larger institutions out there, Bank of America, Navy Federal, they're spending tens of millions of dollars on their digital apps and their websites every year. That's who banks and credit unions of all sizes are competing against. And so I think it's just important that we stay realistic and adjust priorities. So awesome. Well, thanks, Danielle. That was a good conversation. I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us. So if you want to learn more about websites for your bank or credit union, please visit us at figrow.com. We also have lots of other great information, case studies, blogs, other podcasts. So we'd love for you to come and check out our information. Otherwise, let's just get out there and make it happen.